Welcome to the Charter Authorizer Support Initiative Charter Chat. Uh, Next slide. So this is the caveat. The information contained in this presentation is provided as a reference only. Charter schools and chartering authorities are encouraged to review the laws and regulations and consult with their own legal counsel regarding the application to their specific situations. So remember, even though you may have recovering attorneys on this call, we are not here to answer legal questions. Please make sure that you go and talk to your own attorneys. Next slide, please. So the agenda for today will cover introductions. We'll look at the previous charter chat questions. We'll come up with some current updates, some hot topics. Today's breakout rooms will actually be by topic and be self-selected for all of our participants. And then we'll end up with the Q&A. Next slide, please. So the welcome introductions. I'm Dr. Michelle Johnson. I'm with the Santa Clara County Office of Education. I'm joined with my colleagues from the Los Angeles County Office of Education and the San Diego Unified School District. And we are all here with support from the Charter Authorizing Professionals, or CCAP. Next slide, please. So, previous charter chat questions. Can authorizers consider a charter school's 2024 growth data on the dashboard as part of the renewal decision? So the answer to that is absolutely. You can look at growth data. And so please make sure that you are utilizing all the data appropriate and available to share the story of what is happening with that charter school as you're making the decision to renew. So you want to look at the totality of the circumstances. Don't leave information and data out. Next slide, please. So this is the time for you to take the time to rename yourself. And I'm going to actually show you how to do it because I didn't do it right. So when you click on the three dots by your name, click rename. And at the end of it, make sure you add in your organization so that we all know who is here with us as we're going through in the breakout rooms. So my name is Michelle Johnson, and I have comma Santa Clara COE after my name on my window. So now you know which organization I am with. Make sure that because we're doing self-selected breakout rooms by topics, there's going to be a fiscal room, there's going to be a renewal room, there's going to be an annual visit room. We'll also have a credential issues and CalSAS room. And then the last will be kind of this catch-all, which will be general questions. Because the rooms will be self-selected, anyone can be in any of the rooms. There is not a non-authorizer room. There's not authorizer rooms. This is all mixed up based off of topics. All right. So next slide. And I'm going to turn the time over to Tom from CCAP to share our legislative update.
Okay, everybody. Well, as you may have been reading in the news, there are a lot of them this time. The slides just sort of lay out the bills, and I'll kind of give you the verbal updates on the latest on all of them. So starting on the Assembly Ed side, we had, as you all know, Assembly Bill 84 was one of the two sort of rival big bills on charter school accountability and oversight. And you'll bear with us as we've announced it earlier ones. We for accessibility reasons, we have to read all the words on the slide, which when it gets to these little descriptions is a little much, but that bill included school accountability, Office of the Education Inspector General, school financial and performance audits, charter school authorization oversight, funding operations, networks and contracting, state data systems, and local educational agency contractor background checks. Those bills both were in the final sort of stages of debate. This bill was put on the inactive file, and when we get to the Senate bill later, the Senate bill actually got passed. So that is on the governor's desk, but this one is sort of in abeyance, and we'll see what happens with the Senate bill. AB 640 did pass, and it's on the governor's desk. That has to do with new requirements about governance training for LEAs, so stay tuned on that one. AB 714 also passed. You probably read about this one. It's a highly debated bill about discrimination, anti-Semitism prevention. That one is awaiting the governor's signature or veto, or he has, by the way, until October 13th, I believe, to either veto, sign, or allow a bill to become law without his signature. So that's where things stand on those ones. Another bill that passed, AB 1264, is on pupil nutrition. It designates certain foods as particularly harmful ultra-processed foods and sets in place a state mechanism for identifying them and prohibits them from schools. That too is awaiting the governor's decision. Next slide. There are a few bills here that are also passed. So two of them kind of are overlapping information. Assembly Bill 49 is called the California Safe Haven Schools Act, and that one would prohibit LEAs, including charter schools, from allowing immigration enforcement onto a school campus without a valid court order or warrant. There's some nuances and details in that one. There's already model policy that the Attorney General puts out for local schools to have on how to interface with immigration, and that policy will have to be, that model will have to be updated by December 1st from the Attorney General. And so these two bills, AB 49 and SB 98, the next one I'll talk about, both have what's called an urgency clause, which means they take effect upon the governor's signature, not like January 1st or some later date. And this one, the one on the school policies having to do with access by immigration authorities to campus, those local policies have to be adopted by March 1st. So that's in this school year, something to have on your radar because it applies to charters. Similarly, Senate Bill 98 has to do with notice, a policy basically building into your school safety plan a practice of notifying families and staff when immigration authorities have been on campus. And you can, there's an option, you can direct them to a link that says, these are your immigration rights, these are your privacy rights, here's some counseling if you want it. That part is optional, but it's sort of put in the bill to sort of be on people's radar as something they could do. That one also, the next time your school safety plan is reviewed, it has to build this into it. And it's sort of a little bit clunky wording, but it seems to say no later than also March 1st, 2026. So that is here and now, coming to schools near you. And then the big one, of course, is Senate Bill 414. That was the sort of alternative to AB 84. That has a lot of things in it, a lot of things that didn't start in it, but became agreed to in the very convoluted behind the scenes negotiations, largely between labor and the charter school sector. It includes things like the Office of Inspector General, which originally was not part of it. It has some things about non-classroom-based funding determinations, audit requirements, both for charter schools, but also for authorizers as to whether they're fulfilling their authorizing duties. It has a couple of grant programs in there, incidentally, that would support authorizers. That one is on the governor's desk. It's a very long bill. Both of those were very long, so that's about what we have time for, but just stay tuned. I know that there's a lot of politicking happening about whether it gets vetoed, whether it gets signed, whether it just becomes law without his signature. Just some of the inside baseball on both the Assembly and the Senate side, there were an awful lot of abstentions that just sort of said, well, a lot of sentiment that this bill doesn't do everything in the world that could be done, but it does a lot of things and we need to move. And we'll come back and there's a commitment to kind of continuing the conversation. So we'll see where that goes. Stay tuned. That's it on the legislative front.
Thanks, Tom. All right, so the California Department of Education and State Board Education updates. So the State Board held their meeting on September 10th and 11th, and the agenda included the appeal of a denial of a renewal and the appeal of the denial of establishment of a charter. The next State Board meeting will be held on November 5th and 6th. And the ACCS, or the Advisory Commission on Charter Schools meeting, will be held on December 9th. And next slide, please. So we're now moving into hot topics or information on topics relevant to the oversight of charter schools. We'll have some program hot topics and we'll also have some fiscal hot topics. And next slide, I will share the program hot topics. So the first one is the LCAP authorizer posting requirements. LCAP posting requirements for authorizers, meaning essentially pursuant to 47604.33. Each charter school's LCAP is to be updated annually, approved by the Charter Schools Governing Board, and submitted by July 1st each year to the authorizing district and to the county office, or just to the county office if they're both the authorizer and the county. Those LCAPs need to be posted on the charter schools website as well as the authorizer's website. And it should be posted in a prominent posting. And also the county superintendent has to post all of those LCAPs on their website as well. The next bullet point is the LCAP dashboard posting requirements. So in October of 2023, Senate Bill 609 held that we are required that all local education agencies upload their most recent LCAP plan to the California Schools dashboard, starting with the 2024 dashboard. And for charter schools specifically, they have to upload a PDF of the charter school's LCAP that was adopted by the governing body of the charter school and which was submitted to the chartering authority and to the COE. So those documents have to be uploaded to the CDE, My CDE Connect unified system. This window will be open from October 14th through November 1st for the 25-26 LCAP to be uploaded for that dashboard. So please, as authorizers, make sure that you are making sure or remind your charter schools that they need to have that uploaded. Otherwise, their local indicators will also be marked as not done, and we don't want to have not mets. You can take a look at the resource page that has all of this information on it. And for further information regarding dashboard coordinators or the LCAP uploads, please contact the local agency systems support by email at lcff@cde.ca.gov. All right, the last item is the CalSAS window. So you heard about this last month, but because the window is still open at this moment, I wanted to make sure that you didn't forget that you still need to go in and do the CalSAS piece. So the local the LEA preview of the 24-25 CASP and ELAC result, no, wrong one. So the CAS window is still open and we need to make sure that that gets completed as well. I was reading the wrong document. I apologize. Next slide, please, and I'll turn over this to Shalou.
Thank you, Michelle. Just went over some fiscal reminders. CalPADS Fall 1 Census Day, October 1st, 2025. The official submission window for CalPAD Fall 1 census data is October 1st, and it runs through January 23rd, 2026, with the certification deadline of December 12, 2025, and the amendment window closes January 23rd, 2026. As a reminder, the Fall 1 submission data is used to calculate the unduplicated pupil count for the purpose of LCFF concentration and supplemental grant funding. Charter school 20-day attendance report is due to CDE by October 31st, 2025. Pursuant to Education Code 47652, charter schools that submitted 25-26 pupil estimated for new or significantly expanded charters, PENSEC report, must also complete the 20-day report to receive the charter school special advance apportionment. The 25-26 charter school 20-day report and the signed certification are due to CDE by October 31st, 2025. Last but not the least, unaudited actuals. They must be promoted to CDE by October 15, 2025. Assuming all SCCOE, all the county offices must have received the unaudited actuals by now and are in the process of reviewing unaudited actuals, and they are supposed to promote to CDE by October 15, 2025. Next slide, please.
All right. So we are now headed into breakout rooms. You get to self-select your breakout room as they are currently by topic. There is a link for the slide deck for the breakout room facilitators and note takers. So please, each room has a new slide. We're going to keep introductions short in the interest of time, but there may be some first timers who are here. At the end of the breakout room, we will report the discussion highlights back to the full group. And so the breakout rooms and facilitators are fiscal. We will have Shalou and Rick. For renewals, we'll just have Indra because Dave is not with us today, dealing with a family emergency. Annual visits will be Deidre and Tom. Credentials and California statewide assignment accountability system, that'll be Tiffany and Jeff, and general questions will be me. So, Amy, can you please open the breakout rooms and everyone gets to self-select?
Michelle, just want the link that's been shared for the breakout room facilitators is from August 25th, so it already had the notes on it, so I'm not sure.
Yep. Hold on, let me give you the right one. I apologize.
Thank you.
Somehow it just didn't do what it was supposed to do.
I know you were testing if you were all awake.
Hey, everybody, that's the whole point. I wanted to see whether or not you were all paying attention. Where did it go? All right, so here is the correct one. And now I see everybody popping in. So yay, we got the right one. All right, Amy, open the breakout rooms.
Okay, opening up.
All right, it looks like, oh, we've almost got everyone back. Okay, well, Thank you, everyone, for all of your hard work in the various breakout rooms. As I said, I think, oh, there we go. Here's the rest of everybody coming back. So welcome back to everyone. I hope that you learned a lot in the individual breakout rooms. We will start with a quick share out from each of the different rooms. So fiscal, what did you guys talk about?
I'll start and I'll have my partner Rick pitch in anything that I missed out on our conversation it was a great conversation. I think we learned new I think it was a great conversation. So we started out with the charter schools and how they set up the LLC structure for the purpose of 740. So we discussed some insight on that. And we also talked about the unaudited review, what practices has been followed by different school districts and county offices. We talked about the like how they are reviewing it and what kind of breakdowns or supporting documents they are requesting from the schools in order to complete their review. We also learned about, and some of our offices shared about various forms and templates that they are using for their review processes and other documents they are requesting from their charter schools. And Rick, did I miss anything, or do you want to?
Yeah, that's pretty much all of it, and also looking at the receivables and payables at the end of the year and how to capture those numbers at the beginning of the year. So
Yeah, thank you.
Great. All right. So Indra, tell us about how the renewal room went.
Renewal. Well, we did have a couple new people, so that was nice. We made some introductions and a couple first timers. We talked about early renewals and what the law or best practice was for that, and schools wanting to submit renewals 1 or even 2 years early. We talked about verified data and the use of verified data during the renewals and the effect of 414 on those sunsetting dates for those for that verified data. We talked about MOUs and what are some of the things that go into those MOUs and whether there was potential for a creating sort of a repository where we were housing a range of MOUs for people to see. But then we had someone who actually was looking at using ChatGPT to pull a bunch of MOUs. So it was a nice, I'm always looking for new ways to use AI. And then we kind of finished the conversation talking about data and growth data, the state's growth metric, how that might be used, how do you build competency with both your staff and your board in terms of data and their understanding of multiple measures of data. And so that's where we kind of ended the conversation.
Awesome. All right. Deidre and Tom talking about annual visits.
Hi, thank you. So in our room, and Tom, please feel free to jump in and add to the little bullet points I've included. We started with introductions. We also had a couple new people in our room, which was great. We did an overview of the annual site visit process, kind of talking about document review, facility walkthrough, interviews with stakeholders, just a general broad overview of what that process looked like. We did talk a little bit about the process for file review for special education files and follow-ups on topics as needed. So if you've identified areas of concern at a site visit, how do you follow up? What do you do? So we talked a bit about that process. We talked a little bit about the CCAP toolkits and services that CCAP can provide and the resources for authorizers. And then we concluded with kind of a little chat about the relationships between the authorizer and the charter schools and how important that is, and that it's important that you approach the annual site visit with the goal of improving things.
Great. All right. And Tiffany and Jeff, CalSAS.
Is it you or me, Jeff?
Do you want to read what you have and I can?
Sure. In our room, we talked about our CalSAS processes, how we start the monitoring cycle and interact with charter schools. We request additional information about local assignment options, core assignments, and send back vacancies for charter schools to address. We remind charter schools that if they don't complete the review process, all of their determinations will be misassignments. Also, TAMO was published this morning at 9 a.m. We found that out because we had a visitor in our room. And so we talked a little bit about the differences between the TAMO information and what's reported to CalSAS. And then talked about using CTC resources, not only as the monitoring authority, but also suggesting that charter schools use those in order to ensure that they are choosing the correct course codes for teacher credential matching. Anything else, Jeff?
Just the use of the CalPADS report 4.3 staff assignment report in order to double check what they have in CalPADS versus what is actually happening in the classroom, because sometimes if there's a mismatch there, and to make sure you get as much information you can right around census day so that you have a current master schedule right on census day, so that 8 months later, 10 months later, you when you ask about this stuff, maybe they have different staff, maybe they say things that don't match what happened in reality. So take notes, make sure you're doing it now so that you're ready for next year's CalSAS, and that'll help you jog your memory.
Great. All right. So the last room was the general questions room. We had a facilities question. We asked, question was on renewal process for a state board approved charter, and what do we have to do on that one? Independent study questions, and asked a little more details on the State Board of Education meeting. I will say that the feedback that I got was we really like doing this by our breakout rooms by topic. So, which is the perfect segue. Next slide, actually go 2 slides. We love feedback. Next slide. Thank you. So please complete our short after meeting survey. We do listen to you. In fact, that's why we did breakout rooms by topic. So please, as you're going through, we're asking you to tell us what other topics you might want to have as part of the breakout rooms, or topics for upcoming charter chats, and topics for deeper dives in the regional hub meetings. Next slide. So upcoming CASI events, we do have the charter chat on October 29th. We have our quarterly training on October 17th. That topic is managing charter closure and non-renewal responsibly. The registration link is on the resource page. Next slide, please. There's also Authorizing 101, Fiscal 101, or the topic of your choice. And so we can bring free trainings via Zoom. In fact, we just held one on Authorizer 101. That was actually last week. And so if you're interested in going and getting, if you weren't able to attend that training, you can go watch it on the CASI website. But we can do Authorizer 101 locally for you. We can pair it with local topical priorities. We can pair it with a training for charter schools, or combine it with some other issue. So reach out to cassie@cde.ca.gov. E. Next slide, please. The other thing you can do is look for one-on-one technical support. You can reach out to me, Michelle Johnson, the CASI contact lead for that. Mentoring support, you can reach out to Deidre Walsh. On-site trainings, you can reach out to Indra Ciccarelli. So please see the resource page for more information. Next slide, please. And so before you all head out, please make sure that you fill out our survey. We've got 11 responses. Yay! But I know there were at least 90 people in this room. So please, if you get the chance, fill out that survey. Oh, now we're up to 13. Keep going. Really appreciate it. Contact us at casi.cde.ca.gov if you have questions, concerns, or any other feedback. And we are giving you the gift of time of 4 minutes. So hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please upload the documents again. So can we give someone the link to the document folder? Thank you. Thank you, Amy. All right. Have a great rest of your day. We really appreciate all of you. Bye.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Ava, are you still on?